I need a username. And I have a great one. Little Kid Lover. You know, I'm just going to spare you guys the intermission for today. I am so tired. I am still trying to get shit set up on the back end of my stream here. As you can see, things are just falling apart at the seams. I am exhausted, guys. So, long story short, before we get going, I have not been to the gym to work out in probably 2 months. And in the middle of all of my crazy busyness yesterday, trying to get articles put together and videos recorded and life settled, I managed to drag my ass back to the gym, which was great, except now every muscle in my body hurts. And today was kind of a shit show at work, so of course that was the thing. And unfortunately right now I am just like so exhausted. I didn't sleep last night. I think I woke up twice, once at 4 o'clock, so I slept for 3 hours at that point. And now I've been awake since 6 o'clock. So yeah, somewhere in there I got a little bit of sleep. Yeah, it's Tuesday morning. Well, congratulations, your Monday's over. Mine has got about 2 hours and 20 minutes to go. So we'll see if that improves at all on my end. But guys, I'm glad you're here. Even if things are kind of shitty, depending on where you are in life. Happy Veterans Day, at least to those who are remembering it. I believe it's Armistice Day over in Europe. At least for another hour, 2 hours here. So, that being said, guys, I've got a lot to go over. There's a lot of random stuff to go over tonight. And I'm going to try to bust through as much of it as we possibly can, as fast as possible. Just because I don't want to be dragging shit out too long. Like I said, it's been a very long night. Oblivion, what'd you put on Discord? You had a toilet paper overflow? What? Total overflow? Oh my god. Dude, that's insane. Yeah, I haven't had a water plumbing issue in a long time, thank god. Of course I rent, so I guess it would be the worst thing in the world, right? Alright guys, that being said, let's get to talking about some of these topics I have lined up. Just quick announcement for you guys, I haven't been shilling Meta PCs too much lately. Here, let me get rid of this. Yes, we'll remove that. We don't need that anymore for the stream is over. The election stream is all done. I don't need those on the display capture. There we go. So the game is not fully... We'll get to the details, Maki, about that, but there are ways to buy it on sale now, yes. That they were starting to see the cracks. It might have been worth a video, but honestly, I don't have time right now to do a live stream and a video. So somebody else will probably pick up on it and make a video about it. But yeah, so Meta PCs has got Black November going. They are not just doing Black Friday sales. Basically, if you buy a computer, you get a mystery box. You can save on custom builds up to, I want to say, $320, I think it was, on all their ready-to-ship systems. Dude, I have this case for my wife, this freaking drop pod case. It's so friggin' awesome. The cable management is unreal. Actually, this is very similar to the setup the way I've got it, except no RGB in her computer. But anyways, guys, go check out Meta PCs, link down below, and of course use my code TBO at checkout, save some money, put a few pennies in my pocket. I appreciate you guys for it. But yeah, there's lots of fun stuff on here. Yeah, Maki, it's getting crazy. It is getting crazy. People who bought physical say they would feel bad selling it for 20. You know, we all make our own dumb choices when it comes to games. Sometimes we spend money on games that we know are going to be trash, or at least we have a suspicion are going to be trash, and we know that we should have waited, and we didn't listen to our gut instinct, and you know, it happens. I want to say people should have suspected that when it came to Cyberpunk, but you never know. Hang on. I got to try to use my kill switch on this thing. Hang on, guys. Yeah, Streamlabs is messing with me with the music player in the background. It would be wonderful if at some point all this shit would actually work. What I don't want to do is I don't want to crash the stream. Oh my god, Streamlabs, get your act together. What are you doing? Let me see if there's some way to kill this music. Oh my god. Even Streamlabs is having a Monday, apparently. Well, for now, I'm just going to turn the music off until I can, or the sound off on my computer until we can get this shit figured out. Hang on, I think it stopped. All right, there we go. Okay, music player is off. So, Dragon Age Veilguard. We'll go full screen for this sucker. Oh, no worries, Oblivion. Dude, honestly, I have a habit of Twitter posts, streams, videos. I tend to hit like before I even watch something, or if I see somebody's post that I'm friends with post, like, you know, come up on my timeline, I just hit like instantly. But not everybody's like that, and I understand. It's like a lot of people never hit the like button, and that's okay. I do appreciate when you guys do, though. So, Dragon Age Veilguard. We have the stories coming out about how apparently you can't even sell this thing to GameStop without them giving you more than like $14 cash or 20 bucks trading credit. Copies are piling up. People are finding them in GameStop, multiple copies per store. GameStop's insider information that people are getting saying pre-orders were miserable. 30,000 copies of the 500,000 that sold got refunded. Just, you know, shit that we've heard before many, many times, right? Well, then I stumbled upon something a little bit earlier today, which is pretty hilarious. And it's this article here from Polygon that came out this morning at 7:30 this morning, right? And it says Dragon Age the Veilguard is $20 off for new QVC shoppers. Now, there's two parts of this that crack me up, guys. I don't know how many of you are even aware of what QVC is or when it started. I didn't even know QVC was still around, okay? That's the craziest thing. QVC is one of those things like the Home Shopping Network that when I was a kid, you know, old ladies would watch on TV and you'd find like those really crappy, weird knick-knack gifts, and they would, you know, call them up and they'd order it over the phone and have it shipped to them and pay it with their credit card over the phone, right? That was QVC. I didn't even know that QVC was a thing anymore. I would have sworn they'd gone out of business. But apparently here, and the article says, perfect timing if you wanted to gift a game for the holidays. Over at QVC, first-time shoppers can save $20 on purchases of over $40 through November 30th, including video games. Not only that, it's offering free shipping on nearly everything for the duration of November 11th in recognition of Veterans Day. So I guess that goes what? Through... Okay, so yeah, free shipping because of Veterans Day, I guess. QVC's games library includes a mix of new releases and other titles that haven't received many discounts. The most notable title that's eligible for this discount is Game of the Year Challenger, Dragon Age. What do they mean, Game of the Year Challenger? Are these people for real? For Xbox or PlayStation on disc, which you can get for $57 after using the code. And then, of course, you get the $20 off when you spend $40 or more. So this will be the best price you'll get in 2024. I don't think so. I think it'll pop up cheaper. I'm going to see what this link takes me to as far as QVC, because I'm very curious. I have never seen anybody even mention QVC for like the last freaking decade. Like I had friends that used to buy shit on there, like old people friends. Like I was like 10 and they were like 60. YouTube might not count those because it's before watching the video. You know, Oblivion, here's the thing with YouTube, with the algorithm, with likes and dislikes and view counts. While I trust that a good video does well with views and a bad video does poorly, I tend to see a lot of those shenanigans too when it comes to like likes disappearing, views not adding up. I mean, there's only so much you can do about it. That being said, I do appreciate when you guys do it, but again, yeah, I mean, if there's a perfect system, let me know, because there, in my opinion, when it comes to tricking the algorithm and not having it take away your like or your comment or any of that kind of crap, good luck. In Polish version, they've made up new words that mean nothing just to replace English pronouns. They've done it for different language versions. I mean, that's the same for a lot of stuff. When it comes to hell, I was hearing about Dragon Age Veilguard in Spanish and in French, that essentially they had to make words that just did not exist, right? They were just... it didn't make sense because of the fact that there were not words for these in other languages. Oh, see, this isn't... I thought that was going to take me to the QVC thing. Nope, no QVC. But dude, I have got to get off of Chrome. My computer has no problem running anything that I need it to. But last 3-4 weeks, ever since I swapped out my processor to a better one, when I have all these Chrome tabs open, it just bogs down my computer like crazy. No worries, Maki, dude. If you just want to hang out, that's cool. I don't really... You're totally fine. I am dead exhausted here, so you know I feel you. Yeah, like Latinx, like Latinx, right? So yeah, essentially, I was hoping to click on something for QVC, but I guess they don't have it on here. But I guess QVC is still a thing. In fact, I want to find out about this. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can convince my Chrome browsers to let me open a new tab. My God, this is going to be sluggish tonight. That is insane. Oh my God. Yeah, I got to get off of Chrome and back onto like Brave browser or anything but Chrome. This is terrible. And near the end of videos, okay, Oblivion, that's probably not a bad strategy, to be honest. Europeans are quite proud of their native mother language. Such a bad move. Yeah, no, there's no question that, again, the woke phraseology, pandering, the terminology, thinking that they're going to appease a majority of people by pissing them off and appealing to a minority, it's a very strange tactic. You know, good luck with that. Hey, Natsuno, how's it going? And yeah, Maki, dude, just chill out. You know, hang if you want to. If not, get some rest. Get feeling better. And again, guys, for anybody who was active or, you know, retired military, happy Veterans Day to you guys. I do have some veterans in my family. Mostly my family joined the military because they were a mess and couldn't cut it any other way. Then, of course, my brother who's in the Army is a whole different story. He's like super straight-laced officer. Probably never going to see combat, thank God, in my opinion. But yeah, Natsuno, I saw that they're having a near collaboration. That's pretty freaking awesome. Not that that's going to sell me on the game because I still can't play it if I don't have a PlayStation. Let's see, QVC. What does QVC actually sell these days? I'm going to regret opening this, aren't I? No, it's so funny, like, thinking about this, because I grew up in between generations. I'm like an old millennial, more of a Gen Xer, but technically by birth year, I'm a millennial. And I grew up with a lot of stuff from like the boomer generations, like the older technology and TVs, and a lot of friends that my parents had that were older. And so hearing, like there was the place that you could buy your CDs from, and you got your first 5 for like $1, and then the price went up, and there was something you had to order through the mail and all that kind of crap. Maki, I think you've mentioned before that you have a dairy issue. At least if not, it's a common thing. Okay, so QVC apparently is now just an online retailer. I would say akin to like Wish.com or Overstock.com, it looks like. Yeah, they got clothes, they got tech, they got blenders and shit, they got makeup and beauty. Dude, who even goes to QVC? I can't believe they even exist. Oh yeah, Natsuno, for sure. They're super based. Anyway, so yes, we are starting to see these ways that you can buy Dragon Age for discounted prices. The funny thing is I came across this Game Rant article also saying Dragon Age Veilguard players criticize missing feature. And my first thought was, what? You know, a good game, good story, good characters, likable characters, good voice acting. Like what is the feature that they're missing, right? Oh, hell yeah, Oblivion. I got CD wallets. My wife and I combined probably have like 700 CDs, and then I've got cassette tapes. We have my mom has a garage full of like hundreds of VHS tapes and stuff. Yeah, Phil Collins' Greatest Hits was one of the cassettes I bought when I first made money and actually had, you know, money in my pocket to buy music. Chicago's Greatest Hits. Garth Brooks' Greatest, like there was just a random collection of music I was listening to back when I was like a teenager. So they say that the key takeaways are that Dragon Age the Veilguard players want the ability to preview gear designs before purchasing. Some gamers criticize the lack of gear previews. Despite controversies, Dragon Age the Veilguard remains popular with high player numbers. This article was published 6 hours ago. You know what those high player numbers are, guys? On Steam right now, 23,000 people. Okay? Now, again, I will say again, if this was a game that didn't have a $200 to $300 million budget, that didn't have 6 to 8 to 10 years of development put into it and everything else, then I could understand saying that 28 or 23,000 players is high numbers, okay? Because if something like costs you, like, look, the guy that that developed Choo Choo Charles, stuff like that, an indie developer who only had to pay a few friends and some buddies to help him with a few things in the game. He was his own boss. He made the game himself pretty much entirely from the ground up. And the game went viral, and he probably made a nice amount of money on that because it didn't cost him that much. No overhead, no studio to run, no employees to pay. That game, he could probably stand to have 20, 30,000 players, and that's a success. A game of this level, to make back the money, there's no way they can do it with these numbers. Gotta port those tapes before they degrade. Dude, honestly, I don't know what condition mine are in. They're missing some kind of inclusion, is your guess? I don't... Yeah, well, again, it's not about exclusion or inclusion. It's about not making unbearably, miserably cringe and unlikable characters. And this is the thing. We're going to get into some of this in a minute about how they have no sense of humor. The whole thing, the left can't meme. I've seen some pretty unfunny memes from right-wing people too. But it is a thing that exists that the left can't meme. It's because they have no sense of humor. It's because they can't laugh at themselves. They take everything in life so freaking seriously. And it results in them having a complete lack, no ability to laugh at themselves at all. Sorry, guys. I'm going to close some of these browsers, and I'm going to switch back on dark mode now that I got the stream going. Oh, my eyes. Thank God. All right. So, moving on to horrible, unhinged people who think that they're funny, but they're not. Here's a funny one. I was busy today with a lot of work stuff, so I didn't see a whole lot of like the things that were trending on Twitter. But I guess there's this place called Hard Drive Magazine. I think it's kind of like The Onion or Babylon Bee, but for like gaming and stuff. No worries, Desert. Glad you're here, buddy. But apparently it's a popular gaming parody site, and Grums on here says they're now engaging in unlawful hiring practices focusing on female, trans, and LGBTQ plus writers, which again, isn't anything news. It shouldn't be shocking to anybody. This is exactly the way every company in America is hiring. Legal or not is a whole different argument, but again, shouldn't be a shock. Editor Matt Fresh believes everyone on X is a Nazi and has deleted all of his posts here. If you've been following Hard Drive, you should know about it, about how it's completely dominated by wokies. Vote accordingly with your clicks and wallets. And you can see right here, Hard Drive Magazine, honest games, entertainment, culture reporting supported by our community on Patreon. And this is Matt Fresh, reposted by Kate Bush's husband, of course. Anybody who knows about that Kate Bush's husband account, it is probably the most disgusting looking human being on the planet. This dude's like an Antifa wannabe. I guess he has an arrest record for like assaulting somebody or destruction of private property during a riot or whatnot. But the dude is like anorexic looking. He looks like he's a crackhead. He's got like weird dyed chopped off blonde hair, and his eyes look like he's been doing way too much meth or something. And the shit that he posts online is completely unhinged. And he lives. He's even verified on Twitter. He exists to fight with people like Grums, to fight with, right wingers. And I just ignore the guy because it's like, it's not worth my time. The dude, every one of his followers, though, is a bunch of, they're like the Alyssa Mercante simps. There's a lot of popular accounts like Kate Bush's husband that spend their days just trying to troll like the other side as much as they can. So Matt Fresh on Blue Sky, which is a thing apparently, said, "We're always looking for new writers at Hard Drive, and specifically I'd love to get more female, trans, and LGBT writers on board that can write funny articles that speak to those groups' experiences in gaming, entertainment, and online culture. So pitch if you're funny." Now here's what I don't understand. This is the thing about, like, again, woke ideology, this gender ideology, trying to make sense out of what is female, what is male, and what is transgender. They say trans women are women, trans men are men. Then they specifically say we want more female, trans, and LGBT writer. First off, LGBT already includes trans, so you don't need to say it. Secondly, why are you differentiating between female and trans? You're excluding male, but not male if they think they're female. But I thought if male thinks it's female, then it's female already. Again, their own terminology doesn't stack up. But the fact that they will single out men and say, you guys, we don't want to hire you. We want everybody who's not a man. Or if you're a man, you have to think you're something else, right? Again, whether or not they want to say it's illegal, whether or not there's court cases that are going to be, put through in the future that say no one gets hired, they aren't funny. Well, you're not wrong there. Although, okay, so I had never been to Hard Drive's website. So I went and looked at some of the articles. We're going to look at one in a minute. It's parody, but in my opinion, it's not making me chuckle. And it's not because it's like, oh, it's pissing me off. I don't find it, like, it's genuinely not funny, okay? So there's his, he's pitching people to try to, okay, give me a pitch and we'll see if you're funny, right? Also on Blue Sky, I don't want people on here that care more about follower count than meaningful engagement. They're part of what ruined Twitter even before the Nazis showed up. Deleted all my tweets last night. I'm officially done there. So again, this dude fled Twitter, and apparently he's just operating off Blue Sky now. So it gets better. Then you can see, same dude, Grum says, Matt Fresh, editor for Hard Drive Magazine, has a message for you, and it violates TOS to let you know. He wants you unalived. The mask is off. He then posts a follow-up image after calling every one of you Nazis. This is the media. This is the face of tolerance and empathy. Do not give them an inch. They will take it. And more. Lords of Fortune, treasure hunting faction, returning stolen goods without harming their respective cultures. Dude, that's Lara Croft in a nutshell. That is modern Lara Croft. You guys have seen what they did with Lara Croft, and I'm the first person to say I never owned a PlayStation, and I couldn't give two shits about Tomb Raider as a franchise. I am not going to pretend, much like I'll be straight honest and say I don't watch anime. And not that I have a problem with anime, I just don't watch anime. I didn't read comic books. Those are not things I'm a fan of. I enjoy them. I'm glad when we have good ones, and I'm happy for you guys when you find one you enjoy. But I'm not going to pretend that I care about Lara Croft as much as I would about Master Chief or Mario or Link or any of the characters I grew up playing. However, they've done the same thing with Lara Croft, where she's no longer a Tomb Raider. She's like an ethical archaeologist. She's going to go back and return all the stolen artifacts that she's taken to make up for her colonizer past and her evil colonizer imperialist ways, So you see right here, and this is their thing. You label everybody you don't like as a Nazi, and then you say, oh, it's morally justifiable to punch a Nazi. Despite the fact that in a civilized society, it doesn't matter what you say, words do not equal violence. You cannot attack somebody over something they say. That's a felony. It's assault. You can't attack somebody for words. So when they say go punch a Nazi, you can't. You literally can't, or you'll go to jail, or at least in a civilized society you would. But again, he shares this here with Indiana Jones punching a Nazi. They always like to go back to Indiana Jones, even though he existed in an era when white people might have been more bigoted, so I'm not quite sure why he's held up as like some sort of paragon of virtue. But whatever. And then Matt Fresh says, I've been made aware that Gamergate losers have seen my posts here and shared it with Grums on Twitter, so hopefully they see this as well and share with him. You are worthless human beings. You don't have lives worth living. Again, YouTube, these are not my words. You are, in fact, Nazis, and then ending yourselves should be top priority, apparently. Guten Morgen, Aliquiz. Leftist meltdowns, thank you, Orange Man, thank you, USA. Dude, there are so many meltdowns. I felt bad for anybody who watched my video this morning because I had to spend a couple hours yesterday going through that dude who played Jin Sakai's video, his Twitch stream, to find the parts that were relevant. And listening to him scream on repeat over and over and over again was definitely like I was losing brain cells in the process. So again, they're the good guy, we're the bad guy. They call us Nazis, and it's okay to do violence against Nazis. That's just how they are. That's the way this exists these days. They'll come back to Twitter. They can't attack people on Blue Sky, but they'll silo themselves away from everyone else back to a Tumblr-esque shadow realm. So Oblivion, I have a question about that, because I don't use Reddit. I refuse to use Reddit. Reddit is like the biggest cesspool, not because it's like, oh, they're left wing and I'm afraid to go there. Reddit has like the most disturbed people on the planet on it. And that's saying something, because there's 4chan and there's, you know, Kiwi Farms and there's Twitter, but Reddit is worse. Reddit is like brain rot personified. So I refuse to go to Reddit because I don't want to, it's like, I don't want to have to go on Reddit and feel like I have to take a shower when I'm done because I just feel gross, you know? Reddit's disgusting. But I think if right-wingers or normal people stopped using Reddit, you'd have the same thing. People would leave Reddit and go back to Twitter. But because people who disagree with them will interact on Reddit, they're like, oh, we can get the chuds to come to Reddit and then we're going to dogpile them, you know? It's so strange. So yeah, Hard Drive Mag says they're honest games, entertainment, culture reporting supported by our community on Patreon. Some of their like their pinned article here says Sony announces pro version of Boots for Jeff Keighley to lick. Okay, kind of funny. The Riddler busts out laptop in Starbucks to write another batch of riddles. Gamer afraid to use EpiPen in case he needs it later. Again, these are genuinely like, you could chuckle at these. These are funny things. And then, of course, you can see right here, let me see, they quote tweeted Grums talking about how they're discriminating against people, and they said, we would support any unlawful hiring practices which would have stopped this from happening, talking about his Firefall van. And guys, I've been honest with all of you before, and I'll be honest with you again. I don't defend Grums because I don't know Grums, and I think personally there's a lot of shady stuff around Grums I don't care for, as far as like crowdfunding for a game that is never going to see the light of day. That's just the first thing that comes to the top of my brain, you know? But again, he does provide useful information, and that's why we use this on the stream. And there's no ill will intended towards Grums. I just personally, I don't know. I'm indifferent. But of course, this Firefall thing is a massive sore spot because Grums, I guess, helped on this game, and the game just fell through. It was one of these games that just never came to fruition. They spent a shitload of money, I guess, on this RV. It's a Gamergate, basically. Do you ever get, like, infiltrated, though, by people who just go there to talk shit? And I know Reddit mods take their jobs very seriously. I know that Reddit mods are like, actually. But how do you properly, like, moderate a community on Reddit when you know that you're going to be, like, sought out and attacked by people? Like, on a constant basis. Because personally, on Twitter, you're going to run into, like, a little bit of everything. On Reddit, you're basically in the belly of the beast right there. That just to me seems counterproductive. But I mean, kudos on you. Minority of extremely active users. Yeah, I just know that from the time that I used Reddit a few years ago, just kind of browsing around, it's like there are some seriously disturbing, twisted rabbit holes, and not in the good conspiratorial, like conspiracy theory way, but like some really degenerate, disgusting rabbit holes you could go down on Reddit. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna avoid using Reddit entirely. Oh, God, I'm gonna try to save my computer's brain. I'm gonna delete some of these. So I went to Hard Drive's website, and sure, they've got some articles that are more or less kind of funny. Sega Genesis is way better than Sega Phil Collins solo stuff. Okay. 40-year-old gamer hoping photographing high school students not integral to RPG's gameplay. Top 10 tracks from Nintendo music for your sex playlist. Kind of disturbing, kind of weird. Guy who thinks protesters should be assaulted by cops gets a Rebel Alliance tattoo. The thing is, they have a very left-leaning political persuasion on this website. You can see it from a lot of the articles they write. And for example, I wanted to check out one of them and say, okay, what do they have under politics? So under the politics section, I went and found this article right here. And this one says, latest election patch removes Trump assassination attempt from public consciousness. Now, I thought this would be kind of funny, given the fact that it's like, yeah, it was like all of a sudden after the assassination attempt, the entire world just kind of moved on and we forgot about it, right? Well, no, it doesn't even go like that far. It's simply, well, we'll just kind of read through it. You guys tell me if you find any humor in this at all. It says, developers of Presidential Election 2024 have just released an extensive patch that includes many changes, the biggest of which being the complete removal of Donald Trump's assassination attempt from the public consciousness. Again, okay, I kind of go, okay, that's kind of funny. We were really excited about it when we added it, wrote lead developer Tyson Kojak in a blog post that accompanied the patch notes. We thought it would shake things up and make it more exciting for players, but after a few weeks engagement with it, it just kind of petered out, and our data shows that basically no one cares anymore. So we figured that the best course of action would be to just completely remove it rather than have it remain and waste resources that we could be putting into other things that as of now are a little half-baked, like JD Vance donut shop visits. The patch had an immediate effect on both players and Trump himself, who during a recent rally forgot his own assassination mid-speech, and then they have him going on and comparing himself to Hannibal Lecter. I'm not sure why. Many Trump fans are outraged at the patch and are refusing to download the patch. I guess I'm going to say that's probably a poke, like a jab at, no pun intended, about COVID. The corrupt woke devs may try to remove this from history, but we won't have to go along with it. We will stand in solidarity together. We will remain on the previous version of this election, and cowardly attempt on Trump's life by the woke mod will never be removed from our minds. The sheeple will not win, wrote White Rights 305783 on X, the Everything app. At press time, every user on the latest patch responded to White Rights' post, informing them that there was no assassination attempt, that they simply made it up for attention. Again, okay. Look, every once in a while, you'll be writing a story, writing an article, trying to talk about something. You might try to make a joke that doesn't land very well, or you'll find something funny that nobody else finds funny, or you just try to make something interesting and nobody else gives a shit, right? That happens. I genuinely don't understand in this entire article, this fake, satire article, where's the joke? I'm waiting for the humor. Where's the punchline, right? They could have been really funny. They could have done something genuinely humorous. Instead, it's like we're going to thinly veil our disdain for this man and try to be humorous about it. It's like, this is why they say the left can't meme. Right? It seems like AI. No, this person, Matt Fresh, is the one that wrote it. Matt Fresh, the same person who believes you're a Nazi, who should take your own life, again, his words, not mine, wrote this article. You could have done a very funny twist on the whole assassination attempt. You could have done something hilarious. Because again, if you look at the attention span society has, honest to God, 2 weeks after the assassination attempt, we had all moved on. It was like it never happened practically. But instead, he tries to use it as some sort of dunk, and I'm like, this is just cringe. This is not funny. Speaking of cringe, we do have to get into the big story, which is not even, Marco Rubio getting nominated presumptively for Secretary of State. No, it's Alyssa Mercante. And before we get started, guys, I want to say something about all this Alyssa Mercante stuff. I'm on record as saying that I think we all need to stop talking about her. And I don't just mean like how I do it like once in a while because something comes up that has her involved. That happens naturally, okay? Much like she says diversity happens naturally. She comes up in conversation naturally because you'll be covering a story and then she pops up somewhere. It's like, oh, well, she's part of the story, but it's not all about her. Unfortunately, because drama sells, because drama is so addictive for so many people, and I get it. It's easy to fall into the drama. That's how I covered Alyssa Mercante for the first month and a half that I was making videos about, Gamergate 2 and stuff. But unfortunately, we've reached a point where it's not enjoyable. It's not entertaining, at least to me. It's not funny. And I don't blame guys like Smash JT. She's threatened legal action against him. I don't blame him for fighting back against her and clapping back. He's already in the middle of it. It's when everybody online has to chime in, and I'm like, man, there are so many more important things to talk about. I'm working on a story that connects The Witcher, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Sweet Baby Inc., a whole bunch of stuff, guys. There's so much more important crap in the world right now, especially when it comes to like the woke DEI activism in the games industry, in Hollywood and entertainment, than this narcissistic psychopath. But unfortunately, it's what's kind of like consuming everyone's minds right now because she keeps making herself the story. This is why I've said before, Alyssa Mercante is a horrible journalist because she spends 90% of the time making herself the focal point of the story. She talks about herself more than she talks about anything else. Or she spends her time getting into fights with people online. Then she's saying she's going to sue him. And it's like, you're not going to sue anybody, Yeah, I'm not saying that people can't cover her. And that's not my point I'm trying to make. It's the constant back and forth. It's like a dick measuring contest at this point. And it's like, guys, she's gonna win. I'm sure she's got the biggest dick, okay? I say that in joking and all that, but so what happened was, again, she had died down as far as like the noise around her. People were covering other stuff. And then it came out that Kotaku was letting some people go. She had made that announcement that she was, hey, Lugia. She made that announcement that she was moving on to go to other adventures and that she might be, you know, there's a chance she's going to work at Compulsion Studios as a narrative designer, maybe work at Sweet Baby Inc. Who knows? And that's where she'll probably pop up again. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, she's gone from one place. We'll see her again. And if we have to talk about her again, we'll discuss it. But then it's like it turned into people finding out that she apparently had some abortions, you know? And it's like, okay, that doesn't surprise me. I find it abhorrent and disgusting, but she's not the first and she won't be the last person. And it's a right in all 50 states as it stands right now. But again, Alyssa's done this thing, especially with Smash JT. And I've said that before, based on the time Alyssa went to high school, based on when she went to college, based on her years of working experience, she's probably about 2 years younger than me. I'm 38. She's probably about 35, 36 years old. She's pushing 40. Once you hit 35, guys, I'm sure most of you guys know, especially if you're older than I am, once you hit 35, you are as good as 40 because you are now closer to 40 than you are to 20 by a long ways. It's not even close. So that being said, she constantly obsesses about the fact that these old men, these ancient men are concerned about me and my life and my body and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it has nothing to do with your age or their age because, honey, you're not a spring chicken either. But again, she's made this a thing where she'll attack his family, Smash JT's. She'll attack him as a father. They'll attack her for not having a father. Again, I don't know this, but it's one of these things that it's never ending spiral, right? So that's just kind of what feeds into the drama on Twitter. That takes us to where we are today. And again, yeah, Blithian, she blocked me when Gamergate kicked off, Gamergate 2. She blocked me because I covered some of the stuff about her. She put me on that list of YouTubers who talked about her, though I hadn't talked about her that much. I was spending more time talking about Sweet Baby and Black Girl Gamers and Gamer X and the Microsoft stuff with the DEI. She'd slip in there because I was making 1 to 2 videos a day, so I was covering a bunch of stuff. But I don't see her posts. The only time I see her posts is when other people share them. If they didn't share them, I wouldn't know she existed. You know? I would never know. I honest to God would never know. Are the Terminator movies, you cannot bargain with them, you cannot reason with them, they have no remorse or pity? No. That's 100% Lugia. They absolutely don't. And this is like you're fighting an uphill battle, guys, going against her. Because these people, they're so entrenched in their own beliefs that the more that you attack them, the more they're just going to dig in. So if you're in it for the drama and for that kind of stuff, then that's fine. And you know, if that's your thing. And you know, Smash has done very well. I would say he's benefited from some of it. Obviously, legal threats are definitely never fun, and I feel sorry for him there. But it has helped grow his channel, and the drama has been good for him. It's just something that I personally look at. We're getting to a point where it's no longer just petty drama that's good for views. Now we're getting to stuff like this, where she's already pursued legal action against Smash JT. She's on Twitch, streaming on Twitch now. She's her own words. I think that John might have the video embedded here somewhere, maybe not. It's just a recording of her Twitch stream saying how she's trying to make partner and she's going to basically talk about Smash JT on her live streams in order to make money, I guess is what the long and the short of it was. Which, again, is her right to do. If they're both profiting off the drama, then more power to both of them. But unfortunately, this whole thing that's devolved into all this shit over, like, her talking about her abortions. So she tweeted this out. This was on September 3rd, 2021. And then this got brought back up. I think she shared this, or maybe somebody else found it. Said, I got pregnant at 25 by my then husband. I had an abortion. I left that relationship 4 years later because it was toxic and abusive. Imagine if I had kept that kid, get the F out of here. Well, I would say imagine if you had had that kid, then you'd be a mom. And you would either adjust and become a much more mentally healthy person and be less selfish, or you would have been a terrible parent, which we have too many of these days. But again, you never know. A lot of people grow up when they have a kid. It does help. Now you fast forward to 2022, and she's like, I just had an abortion last month. F all of you ancient ass men, F you straight into the effing sea. This was from 2022. Nobody knew relatively who she was at this point. So this is a long-running thing with Alyssa. This has been it's not just a recent thing because of the drama. This is a source of, like, it's a sore subject, I guess. Which, again, nobody else made that decision but her. So I don't feel sorry for her in that aspect. Of course, then she had reached out with Ron, or to Smash JT with her joke of a lawyer. He responded with Ron Coleman completely destroying her, like Ron Coleman did with Black Girl Gamers in that Park Place. But where we are now, and this is the part that's getting really disturbing. Well, let me see if we can see this whole tweet here. Hang on. This isn't going to take us to the tweet. Let me see if he's got it. That's weird. I thought Fandom Pulse had this where you could actually see the entire thing. Well, she had said previously that the reason that she's using Twitch is also to talk about this stuff and document all this for a future lawsuit, right? I don't want to have to go look up her tweets. She says, I love that a stranger who's been making videos about me and saving every picture I post for 8 months thinks he knows why I chose to have an abortion, and that him and another man, talking about 8-Bit Eric, can and should talk about it for over an hour on a stream. These people are despicable. And yes, I have to keep track of what he's doing. I'm pursuing legal action. It's the most exhaustive part of this process. I'm not discussing this anymore, though clearly he had a breakdown over this. Again, I didn't see anybody have a breakdown. It's just getting to the point where this is getting excessively ugly, you know? Yeah, Lugia, it's gotten really demented. Now, here's the crazy part. Here's why I even brought this up tonight. I wasn't even going to talk about Alyssa tonight. I was like, God, there's so much about this that is just like, okay, guys, this is getting blown out of proportion. My God, can we just be done? Well, John Trent covered this, and he did that on Fandom Pulse and put out this title, right? Admitted child murderer Alyssa Mercante claims she's still pursuing legal action against YouTuber Smash JT. Now, I know John, he's Catholic. I believe, like he does, that an unborn child is a person, and that if you do kill the person, it's murder. Unfortunately, phrasing is everything, and while I don't think she would have a case against him because it is his belief that it's child murder, obviously you can see where this headline would ruffle some feathers. Here's the craziest part. I'm blocked by Alyssa, but now that they changed the rules on Twitter about how blocking works, you can actually see people who block you and the things that they say. So in the replies here earlier, Alyssa Mercante said, you know, that's libel, claiming that this headline is libel against her. John screenshotted it because you can see it right here. Or maybe she quote tweeted it, I can't remember, but she did respond and said, you know, this is libel, right? She's deleted that reply. The reply is no longer in his post. She also then said in this post right here, when he reposted it, she's like, so you're going to do double down on this then? And again, she's also deleted that. Her response here is also deleted as well. So I don't know what's going on, but essentially what we're looking at is she's already threatened legal action against Smash JT. She's already talking about how she's trying to like raise funds for a legal battle. Now she's trying to threaten John Trent, who has just moved over to Fandom Pulse from that Park Place. If you guys didn't know, John Delarose, who runs Fandom Pulse, where I occasionally write articles for, John Trent is now like the guy. He's moved over from Park Place to Fandom Pulse to write like 5 articles a day. So this is his full-time job on top of YouTube. And now, on his first day, we already have Alyssa Mercante threatening like a libel suit against him. Yeah, Blithian, that's crazy because personally, you could say offensive, rude, tacky. I don't think it's wrong what John put. I could see why it would rub somebody the wrong way. But again, if you believe it's murder, you believe it's murder. That's the cold hard facts. And as somebody who's a Christian, he believes it's murder. So I'm sorry, Deadhouse. Unfortunately, 9 p.m. is like the earliest I can ever do until... here's where I should be a complete slimeball scumbag and be trying to grift as hard as I can and make as much money as I can. Be like, well, guys, if you want to, go sign up for my GoFundMe so my wife and I can afford to move to a bigger place so I can have a studio. No, I don't want to do that. But in the future, guys, if things ever work out in a year or two down the road, when I can actually get my wife and I out of this apartment where my studio is my living room and my kids sleep right on the wall next to it, and my schedule changes, then I would love to start streaming earlier in the day, People should ignore her. The more they discuss her, the more sympathy she garners. Yeah, Oblivion, because here's the thing. I don't feel any empathy for this woman for her current actions. I don't feel empathy for her for choosing to abort her child. As somebody who believes that child's life was precious, I feel sorry for the child. But the reality is, this woman, if left alone, could move on with her life, get married. And when I say left alone, I mean ignored. I don't mean like, oh, guys, stop picking on her. Don't take me out of context. She has brought every little piece of this on herself. This is her own doing, and she's enjoying it, which is another reason I say leave her alone. But if she would ever grow up and move on with her life and maybe have a kid, get married, maybe become a little less unhinged, take out the nose ring, she might look back at all this and go, my God, what the hell is wrong with me, The more that everybody just kind of like doubles down on this shit, no, Desert, you're right there. And don't worry, she's not going to. What I'm spelling out the absolute best case scenario, rose-tinted glasses, if there was ever an ability for her to redeem herself and move on with her life, yeah, growing up would be key. I don't know that she has it in her. But again, it's not my place to make that judgment call. I would say based on her lifestyle choices, that the fact that she's damn near 40 at this point and she's still acting like this, no, it's highly likely she won't. But rather than cover her idiotic articles or cover, the drama that happens once in a while, I'm feeling really sick that it's getting down to where we are now, Lost cause? Yeah, she could be. Yeah, on the Desert, the childishness is unreal. Which again goes back to like the voice actor for Jin Sakai with his meltdown he had. It's just like, why are these people so unhinged? Wait, Burner, is this real? This thing you sent to me? President-elect Donald Trump picked South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem to lead his Department of Homeland Security. Is that legit? I saw Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. No, but my long and the short of it, my point is, all of this back and forth, all of this shit, the more disgusting, the further we step into like this muck with Alyssa, the grosser I feel. I'm like, guys, I don't pity the woman because she has made her own life choices and she's probably never going to change. But I just don't know. I don't know how much more we need to add to this, and especially because if we keep giving her attention, she is never going to go away at all. And again, this is not a criticism of like John Trent or Smash JT or any YouTubers like Vera Dark or anybody who covers like the topics that Alyssa comments on. Because again, the entire point is to call out the access media, the shills, the people who attack the customer base, people who attack the gamers, people who go after us like we're some sort of bigoted incels. Which I love when they call us incels. And it's like, I've been married for like 14 years, known my wife for 16 years, have 3 kids together. Our oldest kid's almost 12. I'm really failing as an incel, if that's really what I am. I've never lived in my mom's basement. don't currently live with my mom, Hope that never happens, because man, I lived with my mom right after my wife and I got together. We fell on hard times, and my mom was going through her divorce, and that was ugly. That was not a fun situation to be living in, let me tell you. Know thy enemy. Very true, Unique. Unique Breakfast Taco. That's a great name. It's very unique. It's just unfortunate that this is where we've devolved to. Is more, I guess, my point. I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong. I'm just thinking maybe at this point we need to like pull the brake, like hit up the brakes, pull it back a little, and be like, okay, Alyssa has a stupid opinion about a game or gamers or something. Sure, talk about that. All this abortion shit, like God, I don't know. And I personally, I despise abortion as a practice. I hate it. So, like I said, I'm completely in line with John Trent on this. I don't know. I feel like we've gotten to something that's just really, really gross. So, that being said, from Twitchy here, apparently NBC is worried that Trump will weaponize the DOJ against them and is begging for people to return to the norm. You dwell in your attic? You know, Tekla, there's nothing wrong with that, too. The whole thing about, you know, basement dwellers, I'm like, is it furnished? Is it finished? Is it cheap? Does it have a roof over your head? You know? How do I like her new look? Are we talking Alyssa? Her behavior disturbs me, makes me feel dirty. I'd be happy never to hear about it. Right, Oblivion. I mean, that's really what it's getting to for me. And for a while, like I said, at the first couple months of all this stuff kicking off, sure, it was great because there's a new target and there's a new enemy, and it's like, oh, every day there's a new person that we can like, oh, they're the reason that this and that has happened. And it's like, then you start to realize Alyssa Mercante's influence only goes as far as you let it. She's not one of the movers and shakers that is pushing all the agenda and crap that we're seeing in entertainment. She's sitting on the outside. Look at the way she acted around Hassan when she was at TwitchCon. Like a little fangirl. She genuinely is a very insecure person, I feel like. The only influence that she has is what people give her, you know? 40 square meters, that's not too bad. Oh yeah, Deadhouse, exactly, dude. It's crazy. So when my wife and I, we got our first apartment, and then so here's the very short version. My wife and I got married. I was living with my brother. We had a big ass duplex. I went to 3-bedroom, 2-car garage, big living room, big dining room. The entire thing was probably like 1,600 square feet, which for 2 kids, 2 guys is great. My wife and I get married. You know, her and I have the upstairs. I think we had an extra room and our room, and then he had one room, my brother did, and he had the garage. So we kind of split it 50-50 that way. After he joined the military and moved out, we couldn't afford the duplex on our own. So then we moved to a tiny little apartment that we were paying way too much money for. That apartment, we were absolutely as miserable as we had ever been in, and we were only married in like our 2nd year of marriage at that point. When we moved back from that tiny apartment to my mom's house, which was like 40 minutes away, we spent most of the time, because then my wife was pregnant, just hanging out in our room upstairs watching old like Frasier reruns. And my mom was in the middle of a horrible divorce at that point, so we didn't want to go anywhere else in the house and have to get in the middle of that. But we were happier, we were more content in that tiny little room we were renting than our apartment we had 6 months previous. So it's not about the whole basement thing or attic. It's like literally, if you're not living outside of your means and you have a roof over your head and you're content, that's all that matters. It truly does not matter what facet or like what shape it takes. This whole basement shaming, I'd love to have a house that had a basement, okay? I'd love to get my horrible drug addicted, like crackhead white trash neighbors out from below me, and I can say that because I'm white. Yeah, you know, get them to leave and then, you know, rent the apartment below me so that we could have 2 apartments and then treat that like a basement, put the kids down there. All right, kids, you're sleeping downstairs today, you know? Nah, I'm just kidding. I'd go downstairs and be like, leave me alone. I need a minute. I need like 2 hours to myself. Yeah, Lugia. Honestly, my wife and I, we were in a rough patch. We moved back into my mom's house, and even though the situation around us was bad, my wife and I fixed a lot of what we were going through in that first few months of basically being stuck in the same room together. And that's when we decided to have a kid. I mean, it all just kind of like, magically fixed from there. But it didn't just happen overnight. It was ugly up until then. We had a rough patch that first or second year of marriage. But a lot of it had to do with like the financial stress, and you know, we weren't happy with our jobs and everything else. So there was a lot of other stuff on top of that. So yeah, returning to norms is kind of funny. It's kind of like a return to form for BioWare, right? So from Twitchy here, it says, the left undermined every single norm and ethical standard in their pursuit of stopping Trump. They didn't care about laws or journalistic standards or ethics. They did whatever they wanted to and justified it by screaming orange man bad. But the funny thing is, guys, this is where we have this overlap of entertainment and politics. This is legitimately where you see the same mentality of the same people who try to cancel people in gaming, cancel people in Hollywood, cancel people in every field possible when they don't like their opinions, because there's this overlap of people that are just like, everybody is a Nazi, or you're an incel, or you're a bigot, or you're a white supremacist, or you're a xenophobe or homophobe. It's like, it's not just one thing. And this is where it's so hard to separate politics from everything else anymore, because they have crammed like the same agenda into every nook and cranny that they can. Summed up your Hispanic culture. Well, my wife isn't Hispanic. She is as white as it gets. And then I am quarter Sicilian, and then a little Irish and Dutch, and then whatever the other half of me is from my dad's side. That's like a hodgepodge mess over there. But yeah, no, it definitely turbulent times at different points, but eventually things work out, or they don't, you know? It says, but now they've lost the election, and the realization Donald Trump isn't playing around this time is dawning on them, so naturally they want bipartisanship and a return to norms. And you can see right here, NBC's Ken Delanian, that's a hell of a name, says if the Trump admin prosecutes New York Attorney General Letitia James or Jack Smith, that would violate 5 decades of norms post-Watergate, which said that the DOJ should be independent from the president. Now, mind you, this is the craziest thing. They've been going after this man for so many years, right? They've been going after him for so long. And now it's like, oh, you can't do that. That would be a conflict of blah, blah. It's like, give me a break. Give me a break, guys. Oh, we got a good one. Hang on a second. So speaking of which, speaking of like things being unhinged these days. Now, this is not an endorsement or criticism of Nick Fuentes. I find him to be repugnant and stupid, and that's as much as I'll say on YouTube. But we are now seeing, again, like the reaction for people. We're talking about like these, Alequiz earlier mentioned like the leftist meltdowns, right? These people who are completely unhinged, who are freaking out. So Nick Fuentes, again, have your own opinion about him. I have mine. We can disagree. That's fine. A few days ago, overall, this like Trump getting elected, this concern about, you know, pro-choice rights and, you know, rights to have abortions in which state and this and that, and Trump signing a federal ban on abortion even though he said he never will. Now we've got like, who was that?
That you can point to and say, hey man, I love you, this many dollars worth.
I hope the norms come back.
Norms should come back for entertainment, video games, as well. It won't be fixed in an instant, but it will take time.
That is true. It won't be fixed instantly. It will take time. But it is something that I think is possible. And thanks to the 5 Luigi, I appreciate it. I wonder if most Americans are misogynistic and racist, then why they ran a mixed black woman seems like a losing strategy. Deep down, they know they're full of shit. Yeah. He's trash who turned on Trump. Yeah, John, I feel the same way. But again, I don't think he ever truly supported Trump. So Nick Fuentes, his endorsement of anybody didn't matter to me. I mean, he was hanging with Kanye until Kanye got too spicy, and then he stopped hanging with Kanye. And it's just like, Fuentes is going to say whatever he thinks is worth saying for attention. So he did this thing where he said, your body, my choice, right? To basically to piss off all the pink-haired and blue-haired feminists and stuff. And it worked. All of a sudden, I'm seeing on Twitter all these people saying, my kid went to school today, my daughter went to school, and this teenage boy told her, your body, my choice. And I'm like, these sound like things that don't actually happen. I'm sorry. Maybe they do in small, like, isolated scenarios. But honest to God, first off, Nick Fuentes, I don't think he would ever say that to anybody, let alone a woman. But that apparently prompted this activist, this she's Jewish, so you have the Nick Fuentes not being a fan of Jews. So Marla Rose, a Jewish feminist activist, sparked debate following an alleged altercation with far-right commentator Nick Fuentes at his Illinois residence. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is pretty comical and insane all at the same time. Over the weekend, Rose reportedly approached Fuentes' home, and I guess somebody doxed him, which is how she actually got his home address, and was allegedly met with pepper spray and a physical confrontation. She claims Fuentes pepper sprayed her, kicked her down a flight of stairs, and took her phone, which was later returned by the police. Emergency services, including the police and an ambulance, arrived following the incident. Let me see here. In a Facebook post, Rose elaborated on her motivations, citing Fuentes' controversial reputation. What would you do if a neo-Nazi white supremacist who called on a holy war against Jews and is a loud, proud misogynist lives in your town, she wrote. Encouraged by a friend, Rose explained, so I rang the doorbell. Okay. You don't know who he is, Deadhouse? If you ever run into people online, like on Twitter, or maybe they're on Reddit too, they call themselves groypers. They're... Okay. You've seen it on 4chan? There you go. Nick Fuentes, I don't know when he got famous. I don't know how he got famous. He runs with that podcast or channel, America First, right? He's like 4'0" and that's coming from somebody that's short. I look at Nick Fuentes as like a midget. So she harasses him at his house, then plays victim. Yeah, Oblivion. There's so many angles to this side of this story here, and so he has his he's a Catholic. He has said really strange things like sex with a woman is gay. I'm not even kidding. That's legitimately something that Nick Fuentes has said. He said a lot of weird stuff. He does like the Jewish conspiracy stuff, which again, I'm not going to get into on YouTube. Feel however you want to about history. I'm not getting into that conversation right now. That being said, why would this woman, especially if you go, okay, this guy doesn't like Jewish people, I'm a Jewish woman. He doesn't like feminists, I'm a feminist. He's right-wing, white supremacist, neo-Nazi. So I'm going to march right up to his house and do what? Right? I don't understand this mentality. Encouraged by a friend, she explained, I rang the doorbell. He immediately swung the door open like he was at damn Waco. Why did that just refresh? Sprayed me with a burning liquid and pushed me down the stairs onto his sidewalk. Now, I don't know why anybody would describe it as burning liquid. Why you wouldn't just say pepper spray? Burning liquid sounds like somebody took a pot of hot water and threw it on you. Who goes to synagogues? Well, I would say Jewish people, wouldn't it? But yeah, this totally sounds like something where she went there trying to provoke a response, and then when he responded, didn't like the way that he responded with it. The funniest part, though, is that apparently, on top of everything else, and this is why I think he's kind of a grifter, on top of everything else, I guess he lives in Chicago, which is like a hard blue, left-leaning city, massively Democrat-run. I mean, Fuentes was at the January 6th protest, right, if you want to call it that, told people to go into the Capitol with a bullhorn and never spent a day in jail. So a lot of people think he's a Fed. He's provocative for provocation's sake. Yeah. And so it says, Rose noted that a passerby called the police, after which EMTs checked her for injuries. The nice EMTs took my vitals in the ambulance, she added, sharing I'm a little sore on my right side where I fell, but I'm fine. Also described the police response as dismissive, allegedly asking for what? I said dumbfounded for assault. And he was like, well, you went to his door. I mean, so the cops at least were pretty logical. I mean, pretty rational in the situation. While some supporters see Rose's actions as justified given Fuentes' past incitements on social media, critics argue her approach and alleged doxing crossed legal and ethical boundaries. Oh, so I guess she's the one that doxed him. I don't know. In closing, she added a jab at Fuentes, writing, P.S. Fuentes is a very frightened widow man. Don't ring the doorbell. He's a little on edge. Go figure. This is like insane. Screams Fed. Yeah, Deadhouse. I think he's a Fed. If not a Fed, he's allowed to operate by the Feds, which is close enough. But yeah, this is absolutely insane. Thread on Marla Rose, the story of the freak who got pepper sprayed by Nick Fuentes, then kicked down the stairs. So this was her post, I guess, on Facebook, it looks like. What would you do if a friend after a friend messaged you with his address and told you that you should pop over since you live in the same town? Oh yeah, she freaking doxed him. Holy crap. Doxed him on like freaking Facebook or something. Good lord. Wow. Oh my god, look at that. That is, oh, that's something else. And yeah, no, he is a manlet. It's so funny because I'm short, but I think he falls into the category of like under 5'5" or something. Like he crosses into true manlet territory. And then I guess this is when she fell down. What's weird is I'm not sure where this is at. She said he kicked her down a flight of stairs, but this looks like the entryway to his house. So I almost feel like that this is one of these situations. Yeah, useful idiot. There you go, Jonathan. This is one of those situations where maybe she like threw herself on the floor. What's up, kitty cat? I don't know which one of them's yelling at me. I feel like she might have had like a toddler tantrum thing and actually flung herself up on the floor based on the looks of this. That is hilarious. Winding up idiots and saying about to agitate, they often get a pass, they often be used to... Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. So even if you're not being paid by the feds, if you essentially achieve the desired goal, which I think was definitely achieved on January 6th, no doubt about it, yeah, there you have it. Now, this is great. Drama Alert has... threw her phone in the house. Oh, maybe. He opened the door, pepper sprayed her, and kicked her down the steps. Yeah, but John, I'm trying to figure out like what sequence. Like she's the aggressor, given the fact that she doxed him. She went to his house to scream, yell, rant, film. I don't know what her desired goal would be. Now, I don't know how long this took place either. But if you see this Drama Alert post here, it says original versus the Disney remake. And of course, you got Boogie with the gun. And Nick with the pepper spray. You paused your online UE course to be in the stream. What do you mean your online? What is you? Only UE I'm aware of is, unless you're talking about Unreal Engine. Are you actually using Unreal Engine? Let's talk about Seattle. Oh, I'd rather not talk about Seattle noticing. I live in the same state as Seattle, so I'd rather not. Seattle sucks. Oh god, this is terrible. This one here. Your body, my choice, parental advisory, explicit lyrics. See, here's the thing. Do I think Nick Fuentes is an idiot? Yes. And do I think, much like Alyssa Mercante, people make a bigger deal out of the things he says and does than really need to be made out of it? 100%. 100%. You know? We need a comedy reenactment of this encounter. Oh my god, that house. Yeah, but you gotta get like Danny DeVito or somebody tiny to play Nick Fuentes. That would be freaking hilarious. Get like a dude in a wig to play the woman. You said UE, and the first thing I thought was upper echelon, but I'm like, he doesn't do an online course. I know he does like those freaking what's that online masterclass thing? I think he's advertised that before or something. Any reenactment would be a necessity by comedic. J6, no, J6 was more of a fiery but mostly peaceful protest. Not much threat to democracy happened. That's just my opinion. Oh, there you go. Like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. So, a lot of weird shit been going on the last few days. So I did this article this morning, did a video on it, talking about, well, we don't live in a democracy. It's supposed to be a democratic republic. But the problem is we're forgetting what a republic really means, and that's not good for anybody. But again, these people having these meltdowns ever since the election, acting like complete fools, and we have a few more examples coming up here. This dude here, voice actor for Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima. If you guys haven't seen this yet, I'm just going to play the clip of him screaming, and it's very loud, so I'm going to give you guys a warning ahead of time. This is how he dealt with the reaction from the election, okay?
Hello.
So just right here, he's going to do a breathing exercise, as he calls it. He's going to breathe for 7 seconds and scream for 10. This is how he processes the election.
We're going to breathe in for 7, and we're going to scream out, scream for how long? 10? L.
Now, I'm going to say, guys, it gets loud, but not as loud as you would think. The funny thing is, for a voice actor, the screaming here is really disappointing.
That's a lot of seconds.
All right, so you get the idea. 10 seconds of that. And then he goes on to say how the Electoral College is a bad system, despite the fact that Trump won by the popular vote, that the Supreme Court needs to have 4 to 6 year term limits instead of life, that essentially he knows nothing about any of this stuff, but he thinks it all should be abolished. Udemy. What is that? I haven't heard of that before. But yeah, so he goes on this tirade comparing Trump to Venom, saying that he's black goop that needs to be destroyed. So it's not really surprising to see freaks like this showing up to Nick Fuentes' house. It's not surprising to see NBC freaking out, going, oh, our democracy is at stake because, you know, now he has all the power. These are the kind of people, guys. I don't know if any of you guys heard about this. This FEMA official, right? This came out a few days back. And it's now been confirmed that this alleged FEMA official that said not to give aid to any people that had Trump signs in their houses, like in their front yards or in their windows, has been fired, which is seeming to confirm it, right? That vid is why we won again. Yeah, 100%. No, NS, dude, I need to add that I need to make a new intro for the stream. And that's going to be like our countdown intro is what we're going to do. He'll never work on Dragon Ball Z with that beta scream. So here's the funny part. I had never played Ghost of Tsushima. A couple days ago, bought the director's cut and installed it. I was going to start playing it.
I better see that actor in the next GDC screaming outside. Lol. Keep screaming louder. The counterculture would get stronger.
Oh, for real. Thanks for the 5, Lugia. 100%. God, that... So yeah, if you just compare that with like all the leftist feminist freaks that were outside of GDC screaming their heads off, wailing, it's temper tantrums. It's pure. It's like we were talking about with Alyssa Mercante. It's childish behavior. It's people who never emotionally grew up. They don't know how to deal with reality. NS, you got to narrow it down which insufferable bitch on The View, because that's like, isn't that like all 5 of them? But yeah, I was really surprised at how weak that scream was. I'm like, all right, so I didn't play Ghost of Tsushima yet. I was gonna get it fired up because I wanted to start recording some gameplay footage for my videos anyways. And then I listened to him talk, and the whole time he's talking like this, and it's like he doesn't have like the gay lisp or anything else. He's not decidedly effeminate. He just has a very weak voice. It's just a very weak, subdued, fragile sounding voice. Well, the problem is, Natsuno, all the voice actors are woke. This is what we're getting down to, is people didn't realize this. The guy that did, Kevin Conroy, the guy that I guess did all the Batman voice acting for the Arkham series and stuff for years, he was actually woke too, and it's not because he was gay. I saw some posts from him after he passed that were very much like, oh, and trans this and trans rights, and it's like, he wasn't just a gay guy that was doing his own thing and living his life, and people liked his voice acting. It's like, I would say for a long time, Ian McKellen was very much the prototypical, he's gay, but he's just an actor. Elton John for a long time was just a singer who happened to be gay, Unfortunately, even Kevin Conroy was fairly, I guess you could say, woke. The one who kept saying Latino voters voted against their interests. But again, NS, I think that pretty much describes every person who's on The View. I don't know. You play Japanese. Oh, see, smart. Yeah, voice acting is an insider's club, and that's where I keep banging this drum and trying to drive this point home. That when it came down to it, the people that we saw that were in... Okay, here's a fun fact, and I mentioned this in my video. Daisuke Tsuji, the voice actor that for Jin Sakai, was also a voice actor in Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and Spider-Man 2, the game that he said he was playing in order to cope with the election. Both games that worked with Sweet Baby Inc., both games that were inherently woke, both games that had a lot of the LGBT crap crammed into them. So it's not really a shock that he, if those are, again, if that's what we see with voice acting, that so much of it is captured by the same ideology, that so much of it has gone that way. He's much better in game. I believe it, Jonathan, because I'm like, how else could this guy... He's not like young, yeah. Like, how else could he have a job if that's how he sounds in the game, you know? Noticing, I see you, buddy, but you're kind of banging one drum there. You go any further specifics, they'll be labeled as sexist and racist. Oh, so you're saying it's the brown woman. But again, that doesn't specify, unless... Okay, babe, you watch the clips of The View. Who was saying that Latinos voted against their own best interest? Anna Navarro. Yeah. Or Sonny Hoskins. They agree. Right, that's what I'm like. I'm like, which one? Like, they all say the same thing. They all kind of, but yeah, probably one of those two. He's American. Well, he's not Natsuno. I think he's American. Oh no, sorry, he's not American born. Daisuke Tsuji was born in Kuwait. His father was Japanese, and then he moved to California, I think, when he was like very young. I want to say I saw that he got into like acting school or something when he was a kid. So, Sonny, there you go. Yeah, so now we have people like this. It's confirmed that apparently FEMA officials withheld aid to these people based on whether or not they had a Trump campaign sign in their yard. Marnie Washington, and again, I'm going to point out later on in this tweet from Madam Savvy here on Twitter that FEMA has a DEI program and a whole PDF that you can download about prioritizing diversity in the workforce. Thank you very much, sir. And so now we're seeing that the person who may or may not have been a DEI hire, I don't know, Marnie Washington, has been fired for allegedly telling disaster relief workers in Lake Placid, Florida, to not go to homes with yard signs supporting President-elect Trump. And that was from the FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell said Saturday. This is a clear violation of FEMA's core values and principles to help people regardless of their political affiliation. This employee has been terminated, and we've referred the matter to the Office of Special Counsel. I don't know that anything will happen. Probably not. I'll continue to do everything I can to make sure this never happens again. This disturbing directive was allegedly made in late October as Washington, 39, worked with the FEMA team in the Central Florida town in the wake of Hurricane Milton. And so, yeah, it said, avoid homes advertising Trump. She wrote in a best practices memo to employees, a copy of which was obtained by Daily Wire. And you can see it right here on this freaking cell phone. Best practices, avoid homes advertising Trump. But again, it makes sense when you start seeing the way people are reacting with Trump getting elected. Somebody actually talked to her like there's a video?
Yeah.
I'll have to dig. I haven't seen it.
She said she was...
Oh, Desert, you got the video? You want to DM it to me on Twitter? I'll bring it up here.
I just saw it.
2024 would have been worse if Trump had lost. Yeah, no, she needs to be prosecuted 100%. I mean, think about it this way. I don't know how bad the conditions were of the town that she was in. I don't know. All right, good night, Oblivion. Take it easy. I don't know like how much control she actually had in giving like life-saving aid or withholding aid from people who were in dire need of help. But if she did, if there was any situation where, well, let's hope Trump doesn't let it slide. We'll see. Kamal lost because she was literally shit. That is 100% true there too. But hey, there's a missing 15 million votes that Democrats are starting to notice. They're starting to go, wait a second. How did we lose by so many different votes? How does my wife view the Gamergate drama? Do you differentiate it from anything else, or do you just view it as kind of more of the same? Different angle of the same shit. Yeah. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. It's a video where they talk about serving the LGBT first. Are you freaking kidding me? Holy crap. Well, yeah, if you can find it, send it to me. Otherwise, that's crazy. Holy shit. There's absolutely some there's some absolute vile and retarded cope of people defending. People are actually defending her for saying that? Like, in what world is that even defensible? So Deadhouse, the thing is, and this is, I don't know, do I still have this map brought up? Let me see, do I have this somewhere? I know I've got it in bookmarks. Oh, here we go. This is the problem with all this discrepancy in the numbers. It's taken like a freaking week for some of these states to actually tally up their votes. You have states like this. Okay, so this is from Insurrection Barbie on Twitter. It says, in Nevada, Arizona, and Wisconsin, more people voted for the Senate race than the presidential race. Okay, people chose not to vote. Fair enough, fine. They didn't like Kamala, they didn't like Trump, they didn't want to write somebody else in, whatever. In all three of these states, it looks like the Democrat senator is going to end up winning, even though Donald Trump won the state.
Do I need to be liked?
Once all the votes have been counted, each of the Senate candidates will end up doing better than Kamala Harris did in the state, glaringly so in Arizona. Split tickets have occurred a total of 3 or 4 times in modern political history. This is the first time it ever happened in 3 different states in the same election. What did I just miss? Oh, NS, you're going crazy again tonight, dude. Thank you for gifting the memberships, man. I appreciate it. Let me see here. I heard my alert going off. I thought it was like a new follower or something. NS, appreciate you, dude. I think I missed somebody's chat, though. How about serving the American people regardless who they like in the bedroom? Yeah. 100%. But again, that's just something that unfortunately, well, when you have people who are ideologically possessed and they believe, okay, so like we were talking about before, the guy from that Hard Drive magazine website that believed that you are morally justified in punching Nazis, telling them to end their own lives, and if you view all of your ideological opponents as Nazis, you feel like it's morally justifiable to withhold support and help and aid to people in need based on who they vote for. I mean, it's insane. Yeah, Arizona and Nevada took way too long. Way the hell too long. Well, noticing the thing about that too is there is some validity to that, especially when you look at the way that the Soviets, you know, the history that happened afterwards with communism spreading the way it did. Personally, I think the biggest mistake was ever getting drawn into the war in the first place. There's a lot of people that don't realize, going back to like World War I, that was really the turning point for a lot of things in our society, was even letting ourselves be drawn into a war in Europe, you know? The worst offense you heard was Trump supporters are more likely to have guns and so could be a risk to rescue workers. Why would they be shooting at rescue workers, though? That is nuts. Katie Hobbs, I mean, unfortunately, I know that YouTube is going to be less insane than it was back in 2020 about talking about possible election shenanigans and stuff. I don't know. I'm not going to make any like hard take on that because I don't want to risk it. But yeah, it's something seems off when it takes a freaking week to get results, especially when you've already had. I mean, Florida got their votes counted in what? 2 hours? In 2 hours, they knew pretty much the entire state. Like, why is it so difficult? You know? Yo, Burner, is this something I can actually link to, or is this just a video? Hang on.
Active in disaster has a diverse.
I'm just gonna go, I guess, full screen on this. Let me just, well, I'll just open our DMs here.
Organizations active in disaster has a diversity, equity, and inclusion and anti-discrimination pledge that is required for the VOED members. I suggest that everyone contact New York City VOED, get a copy of it, and consider how to incorporate that in your jurisdiction. And then as it relates to the spaces where we do the work, look at how you talk about the people behind their backs.
Wow. These people are
New York
just...
City VOED, Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster, has a diversity, equity, and inclusion and anti-discrimination pledge that is required for the VOED members.
Yeah, I feel like we're just cooked as society. I don't know. Like, I don't want to do like the whole blackpilling thing. And, you know, now that Trump won, things are going to get a lot better, especially with Department of Government Efficiency, if they can actually make that more than just a meme, you know? If we can actually have some transparency about how the spending happens and everything else, that would be a positive. But like, oh my God, it's every day you see more of this crap. It's just so awful. It's so gross. So yeah, I was going to talk about some more of these meltdowns, some more of these crazy things that I'm seeing. The only diversity you see is a black person. Yeah, well, that counts, right? India can get all the votes counted in a day. Doesn't India have a bigger population than the US? Like by a lot? Pima County got their numbers wrong. Well, I don't even... Look, okay, I live in a state that always votes blue. Vote blue no matter who. Even if I vote red, I'm still voting blue. So it doesn't matter. My kids, right? Because our polls closed at 8 over here. And we're all 90... So the way that Washington works, we are one of 14 states that automatically mails out ballots, okay? And there are, per county, there's like one polling place per county. That's all you get. And so in the county I live in, which is like almost 1 million people, one location. And you have to like make an appointment or make a special request to even go vote in person. It's not just like, well, you can just show up on election day and vote. No, you actually have to like jump through the hoops just to go vote in person in my state. It's completely unreal. So, you know, the whole mail-in ballot thing in this state, unfortunately, it's, you know, whoever's counting the votes and however they count them, that's how you have a winner. That's how they determine it. And not having the transparency of being able to go and physically vote in person is just, I despise it. I hate it. I wish that we could physically like go vote in person. People don't have deaf, disabled staff. Well, okay, so here's the thing. This is that whole brain rot situation you get into when it comes down to like fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons, World of Warcraft, having disabled characters that you can play, having your wheelchair representation when you're doing like Dungeons and Dragons or something. And you go, okay, it's a fantasy setting. Why would you stick somebody in a wheelchair if it's a fantasy? If it's completely artificial, make-believe, you know, role-playing and stuff, why would you interject like your real-life physical conditions and disabilities onto a character that's supposed to be for fun and enjoyment? Furthermore, pushing it one step further with like reality, in real life with people in situations, there are certain people's disabilities that are going to keep them from doing certain jobs, i.e., it's going to be really difficult to be an emergency responder if you have a disability, if you are deaf or if you are mute, and you have to be able to communicate with a probable patient or somebody who's in danger. Like, there is a reality that when it comes to certain things, you can only push diversity so far to the point that it's no longer functioning. It's no longer feasible. And it's not discriminatory. It's reality, you know? Yeah, I don't know who said it, but it is 100% whoever counts the votes. I believe that was it wasn't a more recent thing like Maduro, was it? About whoever counts the votes decides the election. Yeah, not soon. And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's one thing to do the whole well, we want to have fantasy representation or disabled representation or LGBT representation in our movies and our TV shows, and you go, okay, that's fine, whatever. Then you take it one step further to go, okay, now we need inclusion and people from disenfranchised backgrounds in positions that are critical, that could put people's lives at risk, in danger. And we're going to say, well, because they didn't have a leg up in a certain situation, financially, economically, whatever, educationally, now we have to put those people in positions that they are not qualified for and risk other people's lives in doing so. And it's absolutely insane. Was it Stalin? Stalin said that? I mean, maybe. I didn't think the communists actually had an election. Well, I guess they do. It's kind of like how Winnie the Pooh, they vote every year and he keeps winning. Same with Putin, though, for that matter. Both of them seem to always win their elections by like a landslide. Very interesting. Yeah, so here you have from Hazel Appleyard, you have a woman with severe Trump derangement syndrome tells her husband that he will have to leave the USA. I think she means that she will have to leave the USA with him if he wants to have babies with her, okay? So this person on r/relationship advice says, updated, told my husband, 34 male, and I, 34 female, wouldn't have children in the USA and gave him the ultimatum that we would either move or divorce or be child-free. How do I explain why I'm being like this? I don't know if this is worth an update. I do know this got bigger than I thought it would be. I don't think it put enough markers that could out me. Other than that, I'm a dual citizen in a red state. First off, I hate the whole dual citizen thing. I despise that. And I think a lot of dual citizens are likely thinking as I am. Also, I think updated is what you're supposed to write on this, but I don't know if this will be allowed or if you're supposed to update on the other post. A day ago, I saw something that really kind of cemented my choice. A truck stopped next to me at a red light on my regular grocery route, and on the window it had painted her body my choice. Oh my God, no it didn't. No it didn't! So fake!
Never happened.
Holy crap, that is so fake. You think Reagan said that? I don't know. Katie Hobbs counted her own. Carrie Lake has a rough. Desert, you said you were in Arizona or Oklahoma, right? You were the one that was back and forth between those two states, which was so ironic because it's the last two places my wife and I have traveled. What's your take on Carrie Lake as a candidate? Because I'm hearing a lot of people saying that she's just too unlikable to win. And I like her, and I'm not big on like the short hair girl boss vibe at all, but I don't get that from Carrie Lake. When I've heard her talk, she's very intelligent, she's very well put together. But do people just genuinely not like Carrie Lake, or is it all shenanigans? You know? Yeah, the whole dual citizen thing pisses me off. It was Stalin, okay. It's not who votes that counts, it's who counts the votes. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. I don't like the idea of dual citizenship. I don't like having the ability to pick and choose, you know, well, oh, okay, the things aren't going so great here. I'm just going to flee and go here now. I don't know. Let's see. But she doesn't get the female vote. But Desert, is it because she's unqualified, unlikable? Does she put people off the wrong way? What is it about her that causes that reaction? Like, what is it? Or is it just pure shenanigans? Like, because I can accept if it's any of those things. I just am having a hard time putting my finger on it, like trying to figure out what it is. Is it because she's pretty? You think it's because she's pretty people don't want to vote for her?
No.
Well, but that goes back to women don't vote Republican anyways, so it doesn't matter. If women don't lean right and women don't vote Republican, then it doesn't matter if she's a dog. She could be, you know what it would be? If she was the most hideous person on the planet, they'd make fun of her for being ugly. These same people that are all about inclusion, they'd still make fun of her. I know women don't like women. Dual citizenship between Mars and Earth. We could do that. Although honestly, I don't know that the whole Mars thing is ever a real possibility. Whole different side tangent, but the whole colonizing Mars thing, doesn't that just seem like a stretch? Tough girl who's pretty, most women are Dems. Yeah. So, but I'll be in a little bit. But here, that's what I don't understand though. It's like, if you're a woman and you're willing to vote for Trump, then why wouldn't you vote for Carrie Lake? This is where the discrepancy between presidential candidates and Senate in Arizona, where there was more people that voted for senators than president, doesn't seem to make any sense. I don't know. Oh, wait, we didn't finish the first part. Okay. I've never heard this line before. I don't know if it's some wave of insanity overtaking that side of America. I don't care. I don't even care if it was a sick joke. I was so shocked I thought I read it wrong and messaged my friend group, where a friend then hours later messaged me with a picture of that same truck parked elsewhere with the sign. I've decided to leave. So one sign painted on a truck is what's going to make her leave America. I did start this for advice on how to explain why better to my husband, but I don't feel safe. So I'm going to start moving my moving preparations, and if we still haven't come to a conclusion by the time I'm leaving, I guess we can try long distance marriage counseling if we still want to. $10 says this girl has a boyfriend. This woman, this woman's got a boyfriend, okay? Oh man. Hey, I've got the Occupy Mars shirt on right now. Guess what? It's a shirt I sleep in. It's a pajama shirt. Hey, I love the idea of space travel. I love the idea of having colonies and stuff on other planets. It's fantastic. I love the crazy idea of, mining asteroids for different minerals and metal and stuff. That's all very cool. I don't know how feasible it is, Well, NS, I'm going to disavow that. My wife probably would agree with you, but disavow. Yeah, maybe desert, maybe there was shenanigans, I don't know. Oh yeah, Percy Jackson, they race swapped Athena. I think I said on Twitter now it's like Lathena or something. Are you missing half the combo, Desert? No, there's just I think it's just that we have so many different trains of thought going. Let me see here. It was that the man who wrote that was confident enough to write that it's when cruel and sick people get that confident that I know it's time to leave, so I did tell him today in as many words that I didn't want to stay anymore and I'll be leaving. I told him I can't make that choice for him, but for my part, I hope he chooses to come, and I chose to stay for him for as long as I did. I had a planned trip, but I have extended it, and I'm going to go to visit my family for longer to look at areas. I'm sorry if this is not the update for some people we're hoping for, but with my grandmother's advice, I'm also getting the same feeling as when I lived in British Columbia and saw people stay in their homes until the very last minute during the wildfires, and they gained nothing from not leaving earlier. So she's comparing one sign in a dude's truck. That's a quote from an idiot like Nick Fuentes that we don't even know is real or not, on why she wants to force her husband to leave her or leave with her or force never having kids with her if she stayed in the US. Completely unhinged people. Good thing they can't race swap anime Japanese series. Not yet. Not yet. Let me see here. Oh, here's a good one from Libs of TikTok. This is a fun one. My 17-year-old daughter has to get an IUD now because of Trump. So the original plan, this is from Mareed Elordi, I don't know, Johnson Hildy on Twitter. So the original plan was to allow your teen daughter to get pregnant and then give her an abortion. Yeah, apparently.
Well, it's happening. The family wants to know what I'm doing for the holidays. I'm going to be here with my dogs and...
Oh my god, I'm gonna be here with my dogs. Okay. At least it's not cats, right? At least it's dogs and not cats.
My daughter, who is of childbearing age and now has to get an IUD at 17 years old.
What a weird way to talk about your daughter. I swear to God, what a weird way to talk about your daughter. My daughter who's of childbearing age. The only people who talk about that are people who are obsessed with this abortion conversation, or people who are like in the Middle East somewhere where they still marry child brides. God, that thing with Iraq with age of marriage being, 9 years old now? Absolutely disgusting. Oh, yeah, noticing. That's 100%. Yeah, the crazy eyes are wild. That's 100%. This entire conversation boils down to, they always want to use the idea that in the case of rape, incest, or health of the mother, that it's a large percentage. When I think reality is the combined percentage of medical necessity to save the life of the mother, situations where it's a product of rape or, God forbid, incest, it's like less than 7% or something. It could be far, far, far less than that.
And I'm going to be here with my son, who is a political target. And that should really tell you all you need to know about why I'm not going to be hanging out with y'all.
What the hell's a political target? What does it mean? Her TikTok name is Trans Loving Mama. What? Okay, this person needs an investigation into them. Holy crap. Is her daughter even biologically female? Can she even get an IUD? That is beyond. That's, I don't know. These people are the type to make tomboys trans because tomboys don't exist to them. Yeah, no, it's 100%. And there's a lot of those people. There's a lot of those people who are like, where they were. Hell, I've read that book by what's her face, like the Irreversible Damage book, or at least I got like halfway through it, because the entire trans ideology became an epidemic on college campuses and stuff. 15, 20 years ago, it started happening. And it's these young, impressionable girls who either were kind of tomboys or maybe they were lesbian or whatever their situation was. And they go to college and all of a sudden, every one of them is suddenly trans and all their friends are trans. And then it goes further from just identifying as it to actually going on the hormone therapy and then having the surgeries. And it's all downhill from there, unfortunately. Just a permutation and combinations of labels. Yeah. Yeah, it's despicable. It's terrible. Yeah, noticing, honestly, that's really it. I'm not even a fan of a abortion in the case of rape, because I'm like, well, child didn't do anything, you know, and that kind of goes against my anti, you know, murdering babies part of my beliefs. So yeah. Oh, okay. So you guys need to let me know how you feel about this one. Here's my thing. I don't know this person's politics. I don't know anything about this woman, okay? But I've seen a lot of this kind of complaint. And this will probably be the last thing we talk about tonight. I want to wrap it up. I might have a chance to watch an episode of Daredevil tonight. Hey, NS, we are on season 2, episode 4, I think. The whole Punisher arc has been pretty good. But this kind of feels like, to me, a situation where you have like victim versus victimhood status. Well, Natsuno, let me explain some backstory on this first. Unfortunately, the paused video doesn't help because this gal's been crying. This woman suffers from alopecia, okay? This woman has genuine conditions. You can see where part of her eyebrow is missing, okay? So, Punisher's the biggest. Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, that part was really good. So I've seen a lot of commentary about this right now, because you have all these freaky, weird women who are either shaving their head and screaming, and they're like having meltdowns over Trump getting elected, and they're all just taking a razor to their head and just like buzzing it off, doing a whole Britney Spears thing. And you have people like this who suffer from alopecia, or people who are going through cancer treatment, chemotherapy, where they're losing all their hair and going bald, and they hate that. They despise that. They want wigs. They want to cover their heads because they're embarrassed by how they look. And so it's kind of like this battle between the victims, if you will. Not that they should, but but Desert, I totally agree with you, 100% on that. But just give me your guys' thoughts on this. I'm kind of torn.
I am not part of this fucking trend.
I mean, right there, she has my vote, but still, just hear her out.
Stop. There are people that have lost their hair, like me, and it has been devastating. You guys stop. This is ridiculous. I'm not part of this trend. Not part of it. I have alopecia.
Now, I hate that she's playing music because I don't know if it's going to get copyright claimed or not. I might have to edit that out after the stream's over, but yeah.
But you guys claim to be so caring and kind, but look what you're doing. You guys are not realizing that you are triggering people that have lost their hair, that have cancer.
Right, so in that respect, I agree with her, given the fact that basically these women, the complete freaky activist types, are LARPing when they shave their hair. I mean, they're 100% going completely nuts and cutting their hair off in protest, But the thing is, they can grow their hair back. They don't have to worry about that.
Shaving your head because you think you've lost your rights, you didn't lose your fucking rights. You guys are a bunch of fucking crybabies, just like I'm being right now, because you guys have started a trend that is now affecting people like me and people that have cancer.
So, I agree with her. But then the other half of me goes, it's their right. If I wanted to take my healthy head of receding hair and go shave it off tomorrow down to where I'm bald and shave my head, that's not affecting anybody that has alopecia. That's not affecting anybody who's going through cancer treatment, going through chemotherapy. Like, while yes, it's insane to take a perfectly good head of hair and cut it off because you're being a child and being a crybaby, when people like this definitely are suffering, I almost go, but one of these things doesn't have anything to do with the other, you know? And maybe I'm just not being sensitive enough. Maybe I'm just not enough of a bleeding heart to be like, oh yeah, 100%, I totally agree. I agree with what she's saying. You guys are stupid, you're insane, you're crybabies. But I don't know, maybe if I was suffering from the same thing she was, where I couldn't grow hair, I'd feel like you guys are wasting your hair. You guys are, you guys are LARPing as something that you don't have to suffer from. But personally, I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah, see, Tekla, I kind of think that's where I'm at. She has a good point, but I just don't personally... Yeah, retards will retard. Yeah, you can't stop that. You can't prevent that from happening. So, while I do feel sorry for this woman, I get it. I feel for her. I just don't know that I see it the same way, because I'm like, that'd be like saying I was born with one arm. Therefore, if you go and get both your arms tattooed, you're doing something that I can't. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a stretch in my opinion. It seems very strange. I understand why she'd be upset by it, but at the same time, it's like, there's a million people, there's billions of people out there doing things that you can't control with their body, that don't have any effect on you in your everyday life. You know, we're not talking about something where you go, okay, well, my body, my choice, but you disagree because you believe it's a human being growing inside of somebody else and they decide to murder it. This is more like, if I literally want to go to the tattoo shop and get a tattoo of Homer Simpson on my butt cheek tomorrow, that has no effect on you whatsoever, you know? If I want to shave off all my hair and get a big spider tattoo on my head, you know? Yeah, the lack of mental facilities for people definitely adds to a lot of this, I think. Yeah, Desert, I think that's the part where she has a legitimate argument. I definitely, I think that's the part where I feel for her, is she doesn't want to be lumped in with them. With crazy eyes, I don't know. Well, unfortunately, a lot of people have crazy eyes. I mean, I've had family or in-laws that were not woke or super liberal, but they were female, and they had insane eyes too. Yeah. Maybe she's just overly emotional right now. Maybe she has other underlying issues. I'm not sure. But it definitely, I mean, she's saying she's not part of their movement, not part of their cause. That's just, I don't know. I'm finding so many different reactions from people about all this stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot to process. And the way that everybody has to like react, like this gal doing her thing, LARPing about how she has to give her daughter an IUD. I mean, she might not even have a daughter. She's a trans-loving mama. She might have a son that she's pretending is a girl, for God's sake. I don't know. Anyways, guys, I'm probably going to wrap this up. Like I said, I got like 4 hours of sleep combined last night. So we're actually doing pretty good, given the fact that it's already 11:30. That being said, no video tomorrow. I'll have some videos out probably on Wednesday. And yeah, just go check out Fandom Pulse. Like I said, John Trent's moved over there full time, so he's going to be pumping out articles on there every day, all week long. And then, of course, like I said, Meta PCs has got their Black Friday sale starting. So if you wanted to get a PC, it goes for, I guess, the whole month of November, not just Black Friday. So you've got lots of time to look over that as well. People that are gay but don't support the movement. Yeah, Lucia, we've got some people like that, even like on Discord, or Helldiver, who's like, hey, you know, I'm not a liberal, I'm not some crazy bleeding heart, you know. Yeah, the shaving the head thing, noticing, is a very strange reaction. It's a very visceral, very childish, tantrum throwing type of reaction. So, all right, guys. Racist much. I'm not gonna touch that one. Oh my god, I could say something very controversial, and I'm not going to. All right, noticing, I'll take a look. All right, guys, I'm gonna hit the hay. Thank you guys again all for hanging out. Lugia, thanks for the super chats. NS, thank you for the memberships as always. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to get back to Wednesday. We will get on doing some indie streams again. Pick out an indie game and play it for a few hours. And then, of course, back on Friday with maybe some Ghost of Tsushima, regretfully, or Helldivers 2. We'll see. We're thinking the same thing then. I don't know, NS, that could go so many different directions. My brain was literally like writing the jokes in real time after you said that, but I'm like, I'm not going to say a word. I'm not touching nothing. All right, guys, it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate y'all.